Thank you. Are there any changes to the agenda or anything added?
Make a motion, we accept the June 11th, 2024 agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The public participation policy applies to all selectmen meetings. A copy of it is in the back of each agenda, posted outside this meeting room and on our website. At this time, I'd like to introduce to you our new Public Works Director, Seth Gowan. Would you please come up?
Oh, that's right. We always shook hands. Seth Dick Shea, good to see you.
Thank you very much for coming in this evening. Thank you, Seth. And thank you, Mr. Kidman. Okay, it is, well, 6 o'clock. We have a few minutes. At 6:05, we'll have the public hearing on the acceptance of the one-time FY 2024 OJP discretionary grant funds. Okay, we do have a few minutes to open for public input. If anybody would like to speak on anything on the agenda items only. Okay. See, you know, that killed 30 seconds. Well, either way, well, thank you very much, Seth, for coming and coming into the town of Alton. Welcome. Looking very forward to seeing you come on board. We have about 3 minutes. Yeah, we do that. Sing us Grand Old Flag.
Don't tempt me, well.
Well, please don't. That's not Grand Old Flag. I hate it when we have to be precise. Exactly 6:05. No. It is very nice.
What's that? I knew what you said. Oh, good.
It came out nice.
It
It really did.
Yeah. Love dead space.
Did you memorize the licensed dogs? Good. It's gonna be a test.
Most importantly, our dogs.
Picking things around now?
Very critical. Yes. First thing I thought when I looked at this was, we're trying to control the cost of copies. We could have done that one online or something.
Wow.
Yeah. Pretty nice. Detail.
There's a lot of detail. That's nice.
Yes, I don't know how that relates to the total number of dogs.
Thank you for your patience, everybody. We got 1 minute.
I mean.
When I was a kid, I used to be able to, well, about 2 minutes to 2.5 minutes, but those days are gone. Not as much. Not as much. I hope to a little bit this year.
I have 6:05.
Okay, at this time, we'll open the public hearing. It is 6:05 PM on the acceptance of the one-time FY 2024 OJP discretionary grant funds. Chief?
Right, good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
This project, as you introduced, is the fiscal year 24 Office of Justice Programs Burn Discretionary Grant Project. We initially started this process by submitting a fiscal year 24 congressionally directed spending request to Senator Jean Shaheen's office. She approved it and then put it forward through the budget process, and now it's with the DOJ. The project is a request for $255,000 to start a body camera program. That will get us all the equipment, software, and storage that we would need for 5 years. Also included in this program would be the replacement of all of our tasers. The body worn cameras for police have obviously become pretty commonplace. We're a little behind the times in getting started. This is a means to get us really jump started for coverage for 5 years. After the 5 years, we'd have to be funding it ourselves, but there are other grants. So the idea to continue this program would be to do a CRF and start putting away a little bit of money each year and try to get into like another 5-year program when this one expires. Still got to sort out with Axon exactly what the projection of that cost would be, try to adjust for what increases we could expect in 5 years, but that'll be all be part of the CIP. But right now we have the grant submitted, it's non-competitive, and there's no match on our side.
That's fantastic. And that's for the 5-year program.
For 5 years, correct.
5 years, and that'll be all new tasers or with the tasers and all the
All-
body cams.
And all
for,
cameras, correct. Yep.
And
All
and
the
how many
warranties.
body cams would?
We're gonna do 22. That'll give us 2 on the shelf so that while you're down, getting the other one in, you can keep one on the road. Because once you're committed to the program, you don't want to be putting people out without the cameras.
Any questions? Okay. Okay, at this time, I entertain a motion to accept the grant.
Pleasure. I make a motion, we accept the one-time FY 2024 OJP discretionary grant fund.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thanks,
Okay,
Chief.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
gentlemen.
Thank you very much, Chief. Okay, we've already done public input. We have appointments this evening. Okay, at this time, we will close this public hearing at 6:08 and reconvene as the Alton Board of Selectmen. And at this time, appointments, Mr. Daniel Silva, nonprofit. Come right on up and sit down over here and introduce yourself.
I am Dan Silva.
Yeah, push the button on the microphone too. There you go. Now you go.
Okay, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Dan Silva. We're a recently formed co-op and we're looking for a place to have our public meetings like you all are having right now, you know, in public instead of versus being a Zoom meeting. We are a nonprofit. You know, there's 22 homes in our community and, you know, we've tried a few different places and this doesn't work out. So we're asking if you guys could have a place that we could hold our meetings, you know, and waive the fees for it.
Do you have a particular place in mind, or if that's something that you'd leave up to us?
Yeah, whatever's convenient for you
Okay.
guys, you know,
And what is your nonprofit again?
it's a co-op.
It's a co-op.
Yep.
Okay.
We have 22 homes in our co-op.
Mhm.
And, you know, it's pretty small, simple co-op, pretty much. So we just basically need a place to have our meetings. So that way we can all be in public and.
How do you,
I'll come up to.
Yeah, our meeting.
go ahead and introduce yourself?
So we reached out to the town a while back.
Yourself first.
Robert James, 86 Mill Road, Rockwall Ridge Cooperative. We reached out to the town a while ago and they told us we needed $1 million policy to use the community center on the hill to have our meeting.
Mhm.
We can't do that.
Mhm.
We're a nonprofit. So we were looking for permission to use, our meeting is the last Wednesday of every month. One of the public facilities, whatever you guys would have available to have our meetings, because just like the town, we have, or committees, we have to have them in a public place.
Mhm.
And until we build the community center in the park or the co-op, we have to use public property.
Mhm.
That's what we're looking for.
That's what you're looking to do.
Yep.
And how long are your meetings?
Usually about an hour and a half or so, 2 hours tops. Once a year, we have to have an annual in-person meeting. The rest are usually just the board members and a couple others, so
Mhm.
max would probably be, well, I mean, you figure one person per home, 22 homes, max would be about 22 to 24 people. So and that includes the board members, so. It's just a requirement by the ROC for us to do this, that all meetings are held in public places. Blah, 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 but, you know, the $1 million insurance policy and that, I know we have buildings here in town that can be used. As you know, Paul, I've been doing it a while.
Mhm.
And that's what we're looking to do. So, until we have a community center on site, then we, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
So,
And how long have you had the co-op? You said it was.
just since October.
Since
We
last.
turned, so it used to be Mountain View Mobile Home Park.
Mhm.
Owned by David Canada. Sold to Will, I don't remember his last name.
Stewart.
Stewart. We incorporated it back in the end of October. October 31st of last year, actually. So, and now here we are. We're coming into our first year anniversary and still got a lot of stuff to do. So,
Right. Any other questions?
Yeah, and just educate me, because this, can you just fill me in on what this co-op is?
it's a mobile home park.
Oh, mobile
It's
home park.
now
Oh,
owned
okay.
by the homeowners in the park
Gotcha.
instead of an outside investor.
So
or
essentially,
whatever.
it's like a homeowners association.
Basically, we got forced with the option to basically sell out in 18 months or whatever, because some investor wanted to buy the whole property. Or we would become co-op and buy the property ourselves. But now we have all the political part of it we gotta deal with, so. And it's, like I said, everything has to be public and scheduled, so. What you guys are used to, so.
So when I first saw this come over to us, I did some research and you guys were not current with the state of New Hampshire as a registered corporation in one way or another.
We are, actually.
So you have since,
We have been
Filed.
since,
Yeah, we have since,
in the last month or so?
no, we've been registered
we've
with the
been
state
registered
since the
since
beginning.
last, well, October, November.
Yeah, because you got to renew every January 1st.
That would be on our management company, yes. This document he's got is our article of incorporation. With our business ID and all that right on it. If you guys want this copy, you can have it.
Yeah,
So-
no, I looked it up in the state of New Hampshire. and-
So that's something we'll have to reach out to we hired an outside management company to deal with all of our rents and, you know, evictions, all that stuff. So we didn't have to be the bad guys in the park. So
And you must have insurance.
we do
Through
have
the
insurance,
co-op.
so we could get the town a copy of the insurance binder.
And,
Yes.
and could the town be named as additionally insured to protect the town?
That's a
on the
question for
policy?
the insurance
Yeah,
company,
We'd have
but,
to reach out to them.
yep, so, but that's something we can do, yep.
No.
Okay.
So,
So it was only last October you applied for the corporation or not the corporation, but the nonprofit? of it?
it would have been in November because we literally signed the loan agreement to buy the park on October 31st of last year. So it would have been within that like first 2 weeks of November that they did all of that.
Mhm.
Via the ROC of New Hampshire and the management company.
Okay.
So it was a little bit of a strung out process because everything was last minute. But yes, we are, like I said, you guys can have this copy of the document if you want. It does have our ID number and all that on it as a co-op nonprofit.
Yeah, we'll take a copy of that.
So-
Um, okay. I don't know if there would be any, problems with, timing as far as the use of, say, the, community center in the Bay.
Yeah.
If that's something that you'd be interested in, I don't know. I'd have to get a schedule of time, of what is available and when it's available.
Yeah, so we have used the library in the past. They had some kind of overlapping schedules, so it didn't work out all the best.
Mhm.
Some of our meetings we do Zoom, so we won't need it every month.
Mhm.
But we have one meeting, annual meeting that we have to do in person, in a public place. So,
Okay.
I'm not sure who we'd stay in contact with, whether it's here, town hall or Parks and Rec. I know they take care of a lot of the buildings after hours. To keep that like revived in the schedule as we need it, so.
Okay.
So,
All right.
So, Mr. Chairman, are we, it sounds like we're going through what we would normally go through once we decide to hear the request.
Yes,
I don't know if we can wrap this all up in one night then, or if we need to actually schedule it for the next meeting, probably has to be scheduled.
I would say schedule for the next meeting. We got the information. We've got, this information. Be nice if you could, notify and get information from your insurance company
Okay.
and our registration with the
and your
state.
registration.
That's
Those
who-
would be helpful for the next time.
Yep. So Dan is our president of the co-op and I'm operations manager.
Mhm.
You won't see too much of the others. So insurance binder, registration with state.
Mhm.
Anything else you would need from us to get?
I don't think so. And the only other thing we would have to do is look at the schedules of
Scheduling of the building.
of the buildings.
I know we got multiple nonprofits here in town that use them, so
Mhm.
the schedules do get a little tight.
Okay,
So other than that, that's all we're
that
looking.
should be it.
So you can have this copy. I have other copies at home, so.
Okay.
But yeah, that's what we're looking for. You want my phone number on it? Or his phone number on it?
Yeah, put both. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
You already have mine, Paul, but
Yes. I
nobody
do.
else does. What's your number, dear?
603-340-8298.
82.
All right.
Me and Dan will be the most contact.
Okay.
In the co-op.
Thank you very much. I'll give this to
Thank you
Stacy.
for the
All right, thank you very much.
gentlemen.
You guys have a good
See you,
evening.
Dutch.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Do we
Have-
need a motion to accept the appointment for next, or are we all set?
We accepted the appointment last meeting.
No, I think we're okay. Okay, going on to new business, Parks and Recreation Commission online payment option.
Hey there, Kelly Sullivan.
Ken Roberts,
We're on the Parks and Rec Commission.
you guys look familiar somehow.
But
Yeah, I might have hung out at the highway department for a few years. I was just gonna start from the beginning of this. You gotta understand, I'm just a country boy. 2 and 2 make 4 to me, and that's the way I look at it. Online payments currently right in the town, I understand the town clerk and the water department does it. Online payments. Surrounding towns, Waconia, New Durham, Wolfboro, they all do online payments. Just to kind of think about it. How many do you do on your phone? How many do you on your iPad, your computer? A lot of online payments are being done nowadays. It's the next step in the right direction. I spent a lot of time sitting with the town administrator and discussing this, and he came up with some things about auditors don't like money dumps. Lack of a better term. That's when you got a collection agency that's getting all this money in, and then they're gonna throw you one lump sum without an accounting to it. I understand the auditors don't like it. Well, if I'm on the Parks and Rec thing and you're signing up for yoga, you do an online payment as a Parks and Rec director, I write that down. If I create a spreadsheet, that's a justification sheet. that spreadsheet can also go up to the finance officer, which is also justifies to the auditors. I think it would, 2 and 2 again, make 4. There's your justification. Has nothing to do with the money dump. It's the justification of the dump and where the money goes and how it's broken down. Is that what the auditors are looking for? I don't know. A spreadsheet would have to be developed to show programs, what it was paid for, such as yoga, 5K race, craft fair, etc. Goes on down the line. One of the things that we saw in a couple of meetings that we had for public input is that people were pretty upset that they could not do that. Not everybody had the time to go to the Parks and Rec office, fill out a long sheet of paper and write out a check. I don't know about anybody else. I write out one check every couple of months, maybe. So we know what the electronic payments are all about. How we do it within the town, I understand there could be an issue. I'd like to be able to break down that issue. I wish somebody would look in to see how Wolfboro's doing it. How's Laconia doing it? All these Parks and Rec departments are already doing it. How are they doing it? And how are their auditors looking at this? What company do they use? How can we bring that to Alton? Alton's got to grow up. We got to make the next step. The other thing about this is that I think attendance, even though it's very good, I still think it's low. I think we could gain in attendance to all the different programs that are coming in. Alton Youth League has it. Oh my gosh, they do online payments. Kind of independent away from us, but everybody you talk to seem to already do online payments. Is it some work for the department heads? Sure, it's going to be works. Whether or not you spread it out through the entire town, if it's highway permits or it's building or whatever that can be paid for online, it'd be up to the department head to create a spreadsheet that shows that justification where that money goes. The real work is going to be over here once that spreadsheet's received. Because they're going to get a lump sum payment. It's going to go to the finance office. They're going to have this justification sheet and it's going to show where the money needs to go. Parks and Recs, a lot of it goes to the revolving fund. So in that money dump, it shows how much money has to go to the revolving fund. It's broken down by the department head. So it puts a little more work on them. But the whole idea to this thing is the residents are asking for it. So it creates work for the finance officer. I know that. I understand that. But we're here for the residents of Alton. That's what we're here for. And that's what these people are asking for. So we need to bend over backwards to try doing it. And that's why we're sitting here tonight. That's why the Parks and Rec Commission has come here tonight. In today's world, many things are done for purchases. We all understand that. The recreation office they're escalating in their programs. You've seen the spreadsheets, you've seen the summer activities, you've seen all of that. But I think we're still losing people because they can't do that online. And that's the comments that we've received from some of the residents. I don't have time to come to the Parks and Rec office and fill out a piece of paper and give you a check. Some people don't know what check looks like anymore, but that's what it's all about. It is a feeling that we could increase attendance by registering and paying for everything online. We urge the selectmen to designate someone to look into this and to proceed as quickly as possible. Not, is spreadsheet's going to work? Is the auditor going to accept them? Is it, back to the department heads have to create this, we understand there's work involved, but the benefits involved for the taxpayers of Alton to be able to do this, not just this department, but many other departments, could be a benefit to the town. So that's my little side. And I think Kelly has a few things to say as well.
I just really agree with what has already been stated. Parks and Rec is about families and communities. We all, like a lot of younger families, do a lot of things online. We want to reach out to everybody. So you don't just online, but we do want to try to reach out to those people with littles that will be more involved. The programming at Parks and Rec has grown phenomenally. They've done really well. It's very lacking We are behind the times in town here. I know we do accept other forms of payment through the town online. I know the ABA as a nonprofit collects and does things online. AYL as a nonprofit does things, online. And I understand that it's different because a town has different, oversight and things like that. But again, other towns are doing this and we would just really like to come up to speed with that.
Would this would I assume involve some percentage charged by whatever the entity is that accepts the
More than
online?
likely, because most online, even right now, if you pay your taxes or your water bill online, there is a fee.
It's
Okay, so that
3%.
fee would be,
3%.
the individual would pick that up.
And
They
the
know that ahead of
individual
time.
picks that up. That is stated before you find, so I bought calendars for AYL to support AYL this year. And you just pay a separate fee on top of X amount of dollars for the calendar. And you know that you're taking that on yourself. So it does not come back on the town. If you go to the town website and you pay your taxes or your registration or anything like that, it says this fee is to the town. So you have, say, for instance, it's your taxes, $1,500 or whatever it is, $5,000. And this X amount of dollars is going to be a separate charge because that's the fee to pay online. Most people understand that nowadays because most people are utilizing online. So I don't think that would be too much of an ask of people. They're already doing it everywhere.
Has your commission looked into a program or software in order to do this?
We have just discussed it at our last meeting to do that. So we are going to look into it ourselves, but obviously being a committee of the town,
Mhm.
we wanted to come to you as well.
Yeah, because I think that, in my opinion, I think that's something that you have to get a handle on to see if what you can get to present to the town. To, to do a nonprofit and to do a online program. And instead of the town doing it for you, this is your program. So the town, so bringing it to the town
I think
would make
because of-
sense to me. Plus the town cannot be a nonprofit.
Right.
Well-
I think because of the IT department in the town, maybe we wanted to just ask
Mhm.
them, like, again, so this was just us coming here. Obviously, we're willing to do our work.
Mhm.
It was broached that, we have a couple of different companies that we're gonna look into.
Yeah.
But again, knowing that this is through the town, we wanted to come up here because if we find a company tomorrow, we're gonna be up here at the next meeting saying, hey, we found this
There you
great
go.
company. Can we
There you go.
implement this?
Yeah.
So we wanted to make sure that everybody was on the same page so we could try to move forward as quickly as possible.
Program that's compatible with the town, compatible with what you are trying to do. Makes sense. And if you do that little bit of homework first, now that makes it a little bit more understanding for the town to look into.
But you understand that that company is not where the work begins. That's just a collection agency.
Mhm.
Where the work is, as discussed with Ryan, is the department heads, whether it's Parks and Recs or whatever other department is
Mhm.
becoming what that spreadsheet is.
Mhm.
That has to be worked out between the auditors and us or the department heads. What does that have to look like that they'll accept as justification for that money dump?
Mhm.
If you,
Right.
You know,
you don't mind, I'd like to just clarify our conversation
Right.
and what you're talking about, so you understand. So I know you used the term money dump.
Okay.
What it is it's a batch deposit. So when you use an ACH or whatnot, and we ran into the same problem when the water department started Doxo. They collect payments online, and instead of saying, okay, you paid 110 for your water bill, your 110 is going into the revolving account. Instead, they save them all up and they dump $1,500 all at once, and you don't know which person is making the individual payment. That's what we were talking about when I was trying to explain the complexities of the accounting side of things, are those batch ACH deposits. And not every company does it the same way. That's why we do need to research what these, what Wolfboro is doing, what the other parks and recs are doing. So the clerk's office has a specific software, and it's a specific software we bought, we pay a lot of money for, but it only does clerk stuff. It doesn't, we can't incorporate, that particular program can't incorporate like building and other departments. One of the other things, I did a little more research after our initial conversation. One of the other things was, that we need to be careful of. So to clarify, there's a little bit of cross dialogue between some conversations. There's three different scenarios. One is there's Friends of Parks and Rec that's talking about donations.
Mhm.
Donations in the nonprofit, that's a different scenario. That can't be done through the town at all. As far as an online donation thing. Now, the second conversation is conversations that Kelly's had before in department head meetings and things and talking about, that's program payments. I'm assuming that's what you're talking about tonight
Yeah.
is people paying for individual programs,
Yes.
not donations.
Right.
No,
And the other thing that has to be taken into consideration that we're trying to figure out is Parks and Rec has two different accounts. We have, if Kelly takes payments in for programs, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I was looking into this, but the programs go into the Parks and Rec revolving account.
Yes.
So that is a separate system that is going to have to take those payments. There's not going to be one system that divides it. Unless they can really write program where you can pick
Mhm.
which side it's going to go into an account, because one goes into a revolving account, the other one goes into the general account. Those are the other complexities, is just following the money from the time it actually goes in to what account it ends up with for our accounting purposes. It's not impossible, but right now we have individual systems for almost every department, and chances are right now Parks and Rec is going to have their own individual system because we don't have one that ties together.
Because that was going to be my question.
Yes. So what,
Because that would
yeah.
be ideal.
And I'm not to say that we can't bring something to the board in the near future. Right now, so we're dealing with software issues throughout the whole town. In different departments. Okay, we have a brand new system that's going online in planning and building right now that they're implementing. That does online permitting. So we're slowly progressing, but we have one IT guy working with every single department that's installing software right now. Right now, the finance department is working with a company that builds a finance software. We recently found out that our BMSI software is sold out to another company, and that's going to be coming to a head. These are all things going on behind the scenes that we're trying to work out and figure out what we're going to do. So right now we're looking at the best proposal to bring to the board. So we're talking to different software companies, and there's one in particular that has the option to sort of unite the online payment systems, but we don't have the software yet. We don't own it, and it hasn't even been brought to the board yet because we're trying to get I forget what they actually call it, but it's like a trial run where they download it, they give you a thing, and it's like they called it a playground where you can go in and you can play with the system and
See how it
troubleshoot
works,
it
if it works for you.
and see what works. That's another option that we're working on right now. But hopefully I'm just putting that out there because I wanted to clarify our conversation with the terminology, but also the fact that it's not so much that I think anybody disagrees with the direction that we need to go in. It's just
How
how
we get
trying,
How it's gonna
it's
do.
it's
Right.
been a struggle to try to
and I
figure out
would-
the best way to.
And I
move
can
forward.
appreciate that. And I would also state that obviously we realize that there are priorities, right? And if the highway department or somebody's working on a system, like, we understand that there are priorities, right? And we're not on the top of that list, but if you're quiet, you never get to the top of the list. So here we sit, right? So, right, we will squeak every now and again if we need to, right? So this is the first
This is
squeak.
the
Hey,
first.
here we are. Let's put it out there and, just have the conversation now that we're all here in the same room.
Mhm.
And we can have the one conversation and get it out there and be on the same page. Because we would like to move forward. Understand there are complexities and things there, but it is something that we're working on and we would like to see move forward. So if we can do that in a,
Did she just say you were quiet?
yes.
I'm sorry. I had to just point that out for the record.
The only other thing is that, I'm willing to go and represent the Parks and Recs Department, if it's okay with the Board of Selectmen. I'll go to Wolfboro, sit down with Wolfboro and talk with them. I'm not an IT guy. May not understand everything they're talking about. You can find out what type of programs they're running.
so.
That would be helpful for
Tony has
you
the kind of
and for
program.
everyone else.
Really, we just need a name.
Yeah, and
Excuse me?
I'm sorry, I was just stating, that really, you don't need to get into the nuts and really, we just need to know what the brand name,
What-
Right.
what.
And we will
what
do
they
that,
capable of
and we will
doing.
do that.
What they're capable of
did
doing,
you
and having
have
a
like
list
a-
of what they can do.
An aside, time frame that you were looking at this new system, when you would be able to look at the playground or something like that, or no?
Yeah, they're developing it right now as we speak. They've been working on it for about a month now, a month and a half. So we're hoping that we're gonna have it within another month to troubleshoot, to look at, and to decide whether or not. We've already met with a couple other companies, but we're trying to figure out what's the best, combined, I
Yeah.
should say, collective
Yeah.
software for the whole town. So
They have the online payments within that new program?
Yeah. So I mean, that's very obviously interesting. So we would like to
Right.
see what that outcome is as
Mhm.
well. So,
Right.
And see how it develops.
Right.
And see how things
Yeah, no,
develop and
since
any
we're introducing
information you
something
can
that's
get
already been,
Right.
as well.
you're about to finalize, so.
Mhm.
Yes.
okay. Well,
Okay.
thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Very much.
Thank you.
Good to see you guys again. Hey. Good to see you again. All the new people, and all the old people.
Hey, what's the old people stuff? Okay, thank you. New business, solid waste landfill closure, CRF request for use of funds.
Unless you want to come up, I can explain this one if you want. I don't know if you knew it was on here, but, so, yeah, it's out of the CRF, for landfill closure. There's a request here for, an invoice for soil and, thing. That was, something that had to be done as part of the closure reporting. There was areas that needed to be, loamed and seeded,
Mhm.
on the cap. So we went ahead and we paid off in the invoice and purchased it, but the formality is coming forward to the board, as agents to expend out of the CRF for the landfill closure, asking for your authorization to take that money out of the CRF
And that's
to
the
cover
one-
that expense.
And that's the $1,100.
Yes.
Well, if I'm reading that right, the terms are 10% tenth, so it's actually $990 if you pay it by what, July 10th?
Where we're looking.
Boy, those are generous
Those
terms.
are-
Where was that
incredible
now?
terms.
I'm looking here to see that. 10th,
Shuffling paperwork real quick.
okay,
I think I spent my whole career in the wrong business.
yep, that's true. Yeah. 10% by the 10th and net, and then but 15th full amount.
Now, I'm assuming it's the 10th of the following month. That's typically how terms are written.
This says due date.
The due date,
6/18,
6/18, I
6/18.
think that's 6/18,
Yeah, so they give
so it's already passed.
2-week turnaround?
Yeah.
That's already passed.
So if you paid it within 7 days, you could have saved 10%.
Looks like that.
Looks like it, yep.
When it was sent up for payment, do you see the lines at the top is the line item, the request to take it out of the department head signature and the date?
Mhm.
The amount requested to pay was the 1,100.
It's also dated May 7th,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
a month before the invoice was received.
It looks like it.
A
We know
month
we gotta pay
before
the
it was
1,100, don't we?
Mhm.
Yes.
I make a
Okay.
motion, we pay the $1,100 bill for AJ Cameron Sod Farms out of the CRF landfill fund. Is that how to word it?
Yep. We have a second?
Well, second, but I wonder,
We need to exercise these terms
yeah,
in the
yeah,
future.
I think that one is surprising, but even with just 2%, it's worth it.
Yes, it most definitely is.
Yeah, but the terms are the
10%
10th.
and by the 10th.
Yeah, so we
That,
missed the 10th.
that was yesterday, was the 10th.
Most of the terms that I deal with are the following month, no matter what the date is on the invoice, you know.
Mm-hmm.
10% for the 10th.
Yeah, 10%.
That would have been 7-day turnaround. The treasurer only signs checks once a week.
Mhm.
By the time it comes up from the department, a 7-day turnaround is pretty.
When was this received?
Honestly, I don't know because Drew had pointed out, the date that the department had signed it, I think that was just an error. Cause it says 5/7/24,
Mhm.
but it would have been 6/7/24.
Okay.
Scott, I'm
Invoice-
assuming that's not
the
your
invoice
signature.
date
That's
was
probably
6/3.
Scotty's signature.
The invoice date was 6/3, and then the due date was 6/18.
They must have got that, I wonder if that 5/7 was for an estimate on what it was gonna cost to do it.
It could be. But it's just something to pay attention to in the future. When he's actually come in and utilizing the 10% off on anything like that, anything that comes in like that, 2%, like Richard said, or 10%. Right.
Makes it hard to.
Can that approval come through a consensus, Ryan? I don't know if, can you do a phone poll or?
I think it has to be a vote.
Yeah, well, I would need official vote. I mean, we've done consensus before, but it's usually on a very time sensitive matter, not on a regular basis, but I will tell you that I haven't really encountered this. It kind of caught me off guard when you picked up on that because I've never seen it before, to be
Yeah,
honest with
I've
you.
never seen that kind of discount.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
not
because
usually
they
it's
don't
something like
usually,
this.
I don't know of any of our vendors that offer that. Usually it's a 30-day net. And there's really no incentive other than you need to pay within 30 days. The only incentive they give us is being able to charge for that 30 days. So this is unique in that sense. I didn't pick up on that until you pointed it out.
Just something
So-
to pay, keep an eye on in the future,
Mhm.
and if we can. There's a motion, there's a second, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Okay, new business, fire department equipment, CRF requests for use of funds.
Mr. Chairman, the fire chief submitted up a memo. They recently had to do their fire hose testing, which is a requirement.
Mhm.
They did it last year too, but last year, the fire hose that didn't pass the annual testing needed to be replaced, didn't get replaced. I think there
Okay.
might have been a funding issue at the time. So he's carrying over into this year. They have a little bit more hose that needs to be replaced. The memo outlines exactly how much, 4-inch, 1,100 feet,
Mhm.
a 4-inch LDH. And the request is to pull the money, up to $10,000 to
Mhm.
cover the 1,100 feet of hose that needs to be replaced out of the fire department capital fund, equipment capital reserve.
Mhm.
And that currently has 1.757 million in it.
Okay.
That does seem like a lot, but we do have an engine payment coming out
Yeah.
for about 700,000, so.
Okay,
But there's clearly enough to
Yeah.
to replace that hose, and that 4-inch hose was explained to me is the supply lines from the pumper to the
When they
hydrants
draft,
or
yeah,
water
When they
supplies.
pull out of the lake and stuff.
okay. All right, then, I'll make a motion to, approve the fire chief to, take $10,000 out of the department equipment capital reserve fund for fire hosing that is needed. Currently in the fire department equipment capital reserve fund has $1,757,500.
Second that.
Any further discussion?
So I noticed there's only one proposal in here. Top this out.
I don't know if there's.
I've never bought fire hose. I don't know how many suppliers there
Yeah, well,
are.
that's,
out there.
that was my
there isn't very
understanding
many.
is the fire safety equipment distributor that they use, I believe
Mhm.
is the area local distributor for the type of textiles,
It's all matching that's on the
Mhm.
truck.
yeah, Mega Flow breather. I'm reading it off the invoice
No, I
because
see- I see what
I don't know the
Yep,
difference
yep.
between all the hoses,
see it
but
here,
It's really impressed.
yeah.
So the total here with the shipping, when you add the extra length that they're asking about is $9,300. So,
So in the memo, if you look into it, I think the chief asked for authorization to utilize up to 10,000,
Mhm.
just to give him the room that
Little
he
bit of
needed
wiggle
to
room.
make sure if there was any additional shipping or, the hose. I think he's pretty confident that this quote is going to be honored, but typically lately, we've had things popping up.
Okay.
Unfortunately, the way the market is right now today with any vendor, they seem to change very quickly.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, right-of-way permit, street excavation, 122 Minge Cove Road, map 60, lot 7-3 and 26.
Hot seat. I like back to the first day, right? Day. Just as a note in regards to your question, Drew, relative to discounts. The motion you did for the full amount at $1,100. In the past, what I've also seen is a finance, just like you did with the fire hose. You said not to exceed, I believe, or up to $10,000. That could be done as well with that. And then if the discount is under the same interpretation that you have, then maybe that could then be
Right.
deducted
Absolutely.
off.
Okay.
And I know sometimes they do that, so might be an avenue, maybe Ryan can.
Okay.
I'm all about saving money.
Good suggestion.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, it just ended up being the time, and that's the reason why we just put the memo together for the full amount in regards to that. So you've got a memo before you relative to a street excavation at 122 Minge Cove Road. So that is to put in the septic push line, sleeve and push line for that. Contractor is listed in there. They have posted a $8,000 surety amount, which has been already filed with the town finance and put into escrow, submitted by the property owner, Mr. David Slade. And we have received a certificate of insurance from the contractor of Proto Trucking and Excavation out of New Durham. He would be doing the work, and then it would be inspected and looked at and oversight by the Public Works Department.
Okay.
This is consistent with previous approved Board of Selectmen street excavation crossings for utilities where there's been an actual excavation versus a boring. Directional borings have been a little bit less on the surety side of things as far as the amount of money, because we don't have to, the pavement doesn't have to be cut. So they would be subject to all the conditions and terms that are outlined in the policy.
Are we familiar with this contractor to the degree we'd be confident that
Yeah.
they will perform?
Yeah, I mean, I'm familiar with him.
Okay.
Haven't had any issues. Has he done any of these in town? Not that I'm aware of on any town roads. There's not a lot that end up happening, or at least that are been permitted. Some have happened in the past, probably, but this is the first time this contractor has applied for and gone through the steps to have that done. He's feels very well versed in what's laid out in the policy.
And he'll be the person that'll be contacting DigSafe and
Yep.
contacting the state and so on and so forth.
Yeah, the
Yes.
actual septic plan is in
Mhm.
fact already an approved septic plan, so. As far as anything that way, there's no other notifications other than what he has to do under his septic.
Mhm.
License and inspection relative to that. As far as the inspection on our part, and also as-built drawings that will be required, if in fact he's able to build it to the exact what is on the plan, then that's great. He'll file a copy of the plan with us after completion. If he doesn't, if he has to make a modification because he runs into a boulder or a rock and has to shift one direction or another, then he would do actual swing tie drawings for us so that we could then go ahead and have that listed and put into the road file. These documents get listed in the road file, so Minge Cove would have this. So whenever, if we have to do any work or in the future, it would be recognized that it's there.
Very good. Okay. Anything else to add to that, or?
No drainage on Binge Cove, no drainage pipes or structures or anything need to be worried about here.
There is in different locations, there's cross drainage that's there.
Yeah.
In this area there's no known in drainage as far as any catch basins and such that have been constructed in other areas that I'm aware of. Ken?
I only think of one house down there. That was old Millie Stevens down even further.
Oh, the one at the very,
Oh, yeah, that's the one that went out
Right.
behind the house.
yeah, so there is a cross pipe there that's a little unique. That way, at the very end, but that's something that's been maintained and taken care of. And since I've even been here, we've had to do some
Nick's had to
work to
maintain
that.
it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I remember, so.
Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the right-of-way permit street excavation 122 Minge Cove Road, map 60, lot 7-3 and 26.
Second that.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
You need me to stick around, you all set?
I think we're all set. Do we have anything else?
Feel better, Scott.
Thank you, Scott, and Seth, thank you very much for coming. And
We will probably see you again.
we'll be seeing you soon.
See you tomorrow.
Okay, moving on to old business, dog license warrant.
And Mr. Chairman, this is the annual warrant that's put together by the clerk's office, unlicensed dogs. The clerk did want me to mention to the board that this was printed as of 6/5 and put into your packets for the book. That as of 1 PM today, the total count is down from 290 to 268. So people are starting to filter in and take care of it. It traditionally starts out around this number and starts to dwindle down slowly.
Absolutely, yeah. Okay.
Whoops.
Okay, so we don't need to do any action.
Just to, we need to vote to accept the warrant. It's
To
presented,
accept the
but,
warrant as
but,
presented.
but yeah, as that first page breaks down the state statute and the
Mhm,
proceedings. So those proceedings are what will be followed after,
mhm.
the warrant is issued by local officials, meaning the governing board would actually issue the warrant,
Mhm.
and then they would follow the procedure, meaning just because you approve this or issue this warrant, like she was specifying, there's still a time frame for people to take care of the unlicensed dogs and start checking them off the list before it actually starts getting into the police departments actually serving civil forfeitures, which would be the next step that comes down.
Bless you.
And then it becomes a police matter from that, with the violations.
Okay,
So if we vote for this, we could end up with 268 unlicensed dogs at town hall.
No.
I don't think dogs can drive.
Okay.
no, just at your house.
Oh, that's what I need, along with my wife's 3 cats.